Hello there, Commonwealth from here. The Nintendo Switch has been with us for over 6 years, but with no new games from Nintendo after Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in May and Pikmin 4 in July, is the system reaching its successor in 2023? Or will we wait until 2024? Well, in this video we'll go over 2 different options, so be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell as it helps. Nothing lasts forever, not even the Nintendo Switch. The signs are clear on the wall as the second half of 2023 stands in the sign of DLCs for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 3, Fire Emblem Engage, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but also likely Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Pikmin 4. And that is pretty much what we can look forward to after July. Add to that the successor system rumors and Nintendo removing several of the threads and posts relating to the Nintendo Switch successor on 4chan. Actions that give more credibility to the details reported on this matter. All tied to the same likely factory source that has surfaced multiple times in the end of February and beginning of March. A Pokemon DLC, graphics upgrade and Nintendo Switch successor leaker who makes it clear that we are in the final month of Nintendo Switch game exclusives. It is definitely a likely outcome, seeing that no Nintendo system in the last 20 years has lasted longer from release to being succeeded, or if you prefer replaced, as the Nintendo Switch. The Wii got exactly 6 years before the Wii U disaster. The 3DS got 6 years plus a few days before the big Switch, and the still record-holding Nintendo DS got slightly over that, but none has reached 7 years or been close to that since the Game Boy. In fact, by the 6th anniversary, each of the systems mentioned above had already seen their successor revealed. Not the Nintendo Switch though, which is still going strong with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Pikmin 4. But how long can this state of affairs last without a Switch being revealed by Nintendo? With no Nintendo at E3 2023 and potentially no general Nintendo Direct in June, perhaps the Nintendo Direct in September. As such, I want to direct our attention back to the first Direct of the year. Since this may have gone past many people watching, but something completely unprecedented took place here. Not a single Nintendo game was revealed for the second half of the year. Instead, we saw the first new Nintendo Switch Online system expansion added outside of a September Nintendo Direct. Both the above instances have never happened in the first Nintendo Direct or presentation of the year during the Switch generation, and should be seen as a sign that the number of Switch releases are slowing down, while games under development are held back for the still unknown next Nintendo system. This observation was further supported by the February Pokemon Presents, an over 20-minute presentation that also didn't contain a single reveal of Pokemon games for the Nintendo Switch. New, remaster, remake, or even spin-off title. Nothing. We stand with 0 Nintendo or Pokemon revealed titles in the month of February, but plenty of paid expansions for already released games. We have game releases until the second half of July, and then the rest of the year of DLCs. But then again, which games from Nintendo Studios could still be released on Nintendo Switch in the second half of this year, which aren't already on the system? In truth, only Donkey Kong and Metroid Prime 4. With Retro Studios fully invested in Prime 4 and still not showing anything yet, I don't see that happening this year. And the same goes with Donkey Kong, since who would be developing that game? So that covers that. But still, something is missing in all of this. Mario, who has an amazing first half of the year with the opening of Super Nintendo World Hollywood and the Super Mario Bros. Movie in theaters/cinemas, but absolutely no new game. And the Mario game's missing point is probably tied to the main question when talking about the Switch and the transition to its successor. Does Nintendo have the right system seller to launch a Switch 2 with? After all, the lack of such a game and general confusion caused the failure of the Wii U and 3DS to struggle in the beginning. It goes without saying, a good launch is dependent on the games available on or near R-Day or release day. We all remember how big of a deal the dual release of Nintendo Switch and Zelda Breath of the Wild was, giving the system the initial kick before the big acceleration across all regions with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey, and finally Xenoblade Chronicles 2 over the next 10 months. You need a launch lineup for the first year, along with potential backwards compatibility, and to build the former, you might have to hold certain titles back in the final year of the system you're replacing. We saw this with the Wii U, where Breath of the Wild went from a Wii U exclusive to nearly 30 million copies sold as Nintendo Switch's launch title. But Tears of the Kingdom and Pikmin 4 are coming out exclusively to Nintendo Switch months before our new system is revealed, right? Yes, but for Zelda this is nothing new, as both Majora's Mask on the N64 and Skyward Sword on the Wii came out a year before a successor was out. Hence Nintendo's likely plan to reveal said system or the two options, both starting with no general full-scale Nintendo Direct until September, where the cat might come out of the bag with the reveal of the Mario Game of the Year, ending the longest gap for 3D Mario ever, over 6 years. But here's the plot twist. The game is not for the Nintendo Switch, but rather the first exclusive for Nintendo's next system, coming holiday 2023. In this context, let's remember that originally Super Mario Odyssey was planned as the Switch's launch title, but the game simply needed extra development time. And interestingly to all of us, Mario games have been suspiciously absent this year. At the same time, Nintendo will never give up the holiday sales. Yes, the Wii U was the exception, but the Nintendo Switch is still selling well, but is facing a little problem. Namely that there's little to no market left to sell the system to after reaching over 125 million systems sold worldwide. Hence, Nintendo is in a dilemma. They can either pull the plug quickly this year at the end of November after a reveal of Mario and the new system in September, or wait until after the holiday season is over, giving the Switch one last chance to sell out its remaining stock in stores across the world. Hence, despite the need for momentum, we might wait until early 2024 as there's a different candidate to serve as the big launch title for the system apart from 3D Mario. Mario Kart, which is not getting a new game in 2023. The reason is 8 Deluxe DLC. Despite not being a new installment but rather an expanded Wii U port, this game is the undisputed king of the Nintendo Switch. The only title on the system that has surpassed 50 million sold copies in less than 6 years. Compare this to the equally brilliant Super Mario Odyssey, and you see that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold twice as much as Super Mario Odyssey. This right here is why this is the only game that has received a massive paid expansion 5 and 6 years after the initial Switch release. Well, that, and why the next Mario Kart is the best imaginable candidate to secure instant success for Nintendo's next system. Not Mario Odyssey 2 or any other 3D Mario platform, since Mario Kart 8 Deluxe claimed first place in 2017 and has kept that position and not been blue-shelled ever since. Hence Mario Kart 10 as Tour was 9, the ultimate candidate in my eyes to launch with a Nintendo Switch 2, followed then by Metroid Prime 4 as the last planned dual Switch and successor release, and then the new 3D Mario a few months later. With this arrangement, you give Nintendo Switch from 2017 the 7 years that Sony and Microsoft gave the PS4 and Xbox One, the first systems from these two that got 7 years thanks to upgraded models. And it makes sense to have a new system from Nintendo in the first half of 2024, as this will likely still be the middle of the life cycle of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Besides, you spread no panic in 2023, but rather finish your digital expansion plan and don't have to rush millions of new systems across the globe, but instead prepare an organized launch in March or even in May to build up hype from January for both the system, its upcoming lineup, but most of all, Mario Kart X. X in Roman numerals is 10, but in Japan X also stands for cross or crossover, aka what has been tested out throughout Mario Kart 8's DLC and Deluxe. You know, with Zelda, Animal Crossing, F-Zero, Excitebike, and Splatoon content. With each new wave of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe booster course pass coming out every 4 months, so March, August and December, we can expect that Mario Kart 8 will meet its final update and end in December 2023. And already in January, Nintendo might reveal the successor for Mario Kart and the Switch, both coming out in May, exactly 10 years after Mario Kart 8's release on the Wii U. That right there is the ultimate launch strategy and transition from the Switch to the system that will go on for 7 years to release in the middle of the life cycle of the PlayStation 6. Needless to say, this script writes itself, launching with the exclusive Mario Kart X and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Ultimate Upscaled Game of the Year Edition on the same day. There you have the perfect release combo, followed by Metroid Prime 4 coming to both the Switch and the new system before the big holiday game. A new 3D Mario game exclusive to the new system. There, ladies and gentlemen, you have the start of the continued golden age for Nintendo in 2024, followed by Pokemon's Big Gen 10 in 2025, new Super Smash Bros. In 2026, new Animal Crossing in 2027, and many other games after and in between. But what do you think? Are we in the final months of the Nintendo Switch, or does the system still have years ahead before the reveal of a successor? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell, as it greatly helps both this video and the channel. Last but not least, a big thanks goes to all of you for watching until the end, and to all our patreon.com/CommonRun patrons, and in particular our role producer Charles Shash. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.